So if you've got a body piercing, or you're even just thinking about getting one, you're gonna want to see this. We're about to dive deep into a hidden but absolutely critical difference in the titanium that's used for body jewelry. Let's get right into it.
Okay, first question. You see a piece of jewelry labeled Grade 5 titanium. That means it's safe for long-term wear inside your body, right? I mean, you'd think so. But honestly, it's not nearly that simple. And getting this wrong, it can lead to some really nasty irritation and healing problems.
And that leads us right into what you could call the implant-grade myth. You see this term thrown around everywhere, but what does it actually mean? Well, it might not be what you think.
Here's the heart of the issue. In the body art world, you'll see Grade 5 titanium and implant grade used like they're the same thing. But they are not. This is a huge and frankly dangerous oversimplification. They are two different things, and that difference is exactly what we're here to talk about.
So let's just put these two side by side. On one hand, you've got ASTM F136. Now that is the certified true blue implant grade material. And on the other hand, you've got commercial grade 5. Now look, they're both a titanium alloy with the same fancy name, Ti-6Al-4V. But that commercial version is meant for industrial stuff, not for living inside your body.
You're probably thinking, okay, if they have the same chemical name, how different can they really be? Well, believe it or not, it all comes down to a mind-bogglingly small number. Just 0.07%. That's it.
So where does that tiny difference come from? It's from something called interstitial elements. That's a sciencey term, but basically they're microscopic impurities. Think of them like tiny unwanted guests, atoms of oxygen, nitrogen, and iron that get stuck inside the metal structure. And even though they are minuscule, they completely change how the metal behaves. And the biggest offender here? It's oxygen. Industrial-grade titanium is allowed to have up to 0.20% oxygen, but for medical implants, the super strict ASTM F13 standard, it caps it at just 0.13%. That tiny little gap, 0.07%, makes a world of difference.
And this is what we call the ELI advantage. You see, that lower oxygen level isn't just some random number they picked. It's a very specific engineering choice that dramatically improves how the metal performs, especially for something that's going to be in your body 24/7.
So ELI, what's that? It simply stands for extra low interstitials. It means it's a special grade of metal that's been refined to have way fewer of those little impurity atoms we were just talking about, like oxygen.
So what's the payoff for all that extra refining? It boils down to a really simple equation. Less oxygen equals more ductility. Okay, cool. But what on earth does ductility actually mean for your piercing?
Ductility is basically toughness. It's the metal's ability to bend or flex a little under stress without just snapping. Think about it. Your piercing is constantly dealing with tiny pushes and pulls from just moving around every day. A ductile material can handle all of that without developing tiny, microscopic cracks. Exactly. So the more ductile ASTM F136 material is super resilient, it resists those little fractures from starting and spreading, but the commercial grade 5, with its higher oxygen content, it's more brittle. It's much more likely to crack under that long-term stress, and that can lead to all sorts of irritation and even outright failure.
To really understand why this is such a big deal, let's step outside of the piercing world for a second and look at another field where material failure is absolutely not an option: aerospace engineering.
Yeah, this isn't just about medical standards. The exact same standard for purity and performance that's required for medical implants is also used by NASA for their most critical life-or-death equipment. When failure is not an option, you use the best stuff, period.
I mean, listen to this. NASA chooses ELI-grade titanium for things like pressure vessels, components that are under incredible stress where a sudden brittle crack would be, well, catastrophic. The logic is identical. You have to prevent those tiny cracks at all costs.
And you know what? Proper jewelry manufacturing actually steals a page right out of that aerospace playbook. It all starts with using the right ELI grade material. But it doesn't stop there. The surface has to be polished to a perfect mirror finish. Why? Because any little scratch or tool mark can become a stress riser, basically an open invitation for a microfracture to start. So a perfect surface on a tough, ductile material, that's how you engineer jewelry for decades of safe wear.
Okay, so we've gone from metal science all the way to rocket science. Let's bring it back to where it all counts, that exact point where the jewelry meets your body. Experts call this the biological interface. And when manufacturers cut corners and use those industrial-grade metals, it's not just a theoretical problem. It leads to very real-world issues. We're talking chronic irritation, those stubborn piercing bumps that just won't go away, and piercings that never, ever seem to fully heal.
So here's the big takeaway. When you choose body jewelry, you're not just buying a shiny piece of metal. You're actually choosing something way more important. You're choosing a certified biological interface. Now that sounds like a mouthful, but it means that the material has been specifically engineered and verified to live safely and comfortably inside of you for the long haul. It's about respecting the incredible environment that is the human body.
So I'll leave you with this question. What is your jewelry engineered for? Is it just an industrial part that's been polished up to look like an accessory? Or is it a precision-engineered device designed from the ground up for a lifetime of safe wear? The difference might only be 0.07%, but it truly makes all the difference in the world.